I'm Kathi Whitbey. I'm with Palo Alto Networks Unit 42, and I am delighted again this year to be standing up here guiding a conversation with these wonderful people, experts in cybersecurity. I'm going to give them a second here to introduce themselves in a minute, but just want to highlight what it is that we plan on talking about today. And I think a lot of people probably struggle with this in your own organizations as well. So how do we build cyber threat intelligence teams? What are we looking for? What do we need? And how do we bring diverse perspectives into our teams? So that's what we're going to try and tackle today. And if you all want to introduce yourselves.
Ladies first.
Thank you very much. My name is Noortje Hendrichs, and I lead the cyber threat intelligence team at the Dutch Center of National Cybersecurity. It's quite a large team now, 24 persons, and I'm fairly opinionated on how cybersecurity teams should look like and how mine works, etc. But I'm also very curious to hear the opinions of you.
So my name is Righard Zwienenberg, a senior research fellow at ESET. If you have seen me here before this week, it seems I'm also the chief chairing person of VB at this moment, having done 3 sessions, working in this industry since 1988, lots of experience and also therefore different insights because I have also a historical aspect.
All right. Hi everyone, I'm Hossein Jazi and I'm a senior threat intelligence specialist at Fortinet. My background is mainly tracking and monitoring nation-state threat actors, and prior to Fortinet, I worked for Malwarebytes, where I built an AP2 research team over there.
All right, thanks everyone. So I think we're going to start the conversation with you. Richard's going to tell us a little bit about the history.
Yeah, so the question actually is, so how far can you go back to build a threat intelligence team? Forget about cyber. And if you look behind me, it's already on the screen, you can actually go back all the way to the Roman Empire, where they had 10 different levels of organizations protecting the emperor. And there was all kinds of different levels, like the Frumentari were the assassins eradicating the opposing powers, but they were all doing intelligence, including like the firemen, which is, some there, I can't see it right now. There's even firefighters, and they were instructed when there's a fire, like take out the fire, look around if you can see something that is threatening the emperor. And all these together were actually like basically the secret service of like the emperor of Rome. So really we go back already building teams like this until like the Roman Empire.
Okay, we're good. Thanks, Richard. All right, so let's start after going back to the Roman Empire and look a little bit more at what we're doing today. So what do we do to build it? What types of different information or levels are we looking for in folks to be parts of our team?
Well, I think when we started with the cyber threat intelligence field and everything, many years ago, when the term was just coined, there was this British Centre of the Protection of Critical Infrastructure. I think it was a predecessor of the NCSC UK now. And it had a kind of pie chart with your information categorized into 4 different types, like the technical part of cyber threat intelligence. That was about IOCs, like hashes and domain names and everything. The tactical part was about campaigns and victims and modus operandi. Strategical part was for the board, this long-term information position on how ransomware attacks were growing, and the operational part, the incident response part. And with the shortage of personnel we all have to deal with today, it's rather rare, I think, that we find cyber threat intelligence talent that performs in all kinds of these information levels. So it's rarely you find the personnel that is rather skilled at hunting for, IOCs in a network, and also has the skills to tactical exploit this information. So I think this is also what we have to deal with in a broader sense with threat intelligence and building our threat intelligence team.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, just a quick thing to add. Yeah, I agree with Noortje. And as a researcher, every day we work on different level of intelligence, from tactical to strategic. And the challenge is here that like you have to be aware a lot of different information, data, from technical to a strategic part, that like you need to know about the like international relations and geopolitical things, which makes things a little bit challenging within the team to know all the information and organize everything within the team.
Awesome. So, and I think one of the things that we talked about when we talked about putting this panel together was there are differences in the maturity levels of the team.
Yeah.
So depending on what type of organization you are, do you want to add a little more about that?
Sure. So yeah, it's definitely the maturity level of the Intel team affects the structure, data collection procedures, and everything within the team. And usually I kind of categorize the maturity level of the teams into 3 different levels: basic, or reactive, which they mainly focus on detect and response to threats. And usually they are very a small team with limited capabilities, just try to analyze the threats, mainly working on IOCs, and they have very limited outcome to kind of resources at the end. In the intermediate level, the team try to add more skilled people like malware researchers, a little bit of hunters, and in that level try to a little bit anticipate and analyze and understand the threats, so they have a better picture of over threats. And on the advanced level, they have a full-size team with all the specialized skills, from reverse engineers, from geopolitical, or from strategic threat analysts, threat hunters, and everyone. And the goal is to be a strategic, predict threats, and understand the general threat landscape.
Okay. Richard, thinking also about the maturity level of the teams, does it make a difference to what type of skills you're looking for depending on what type of products and services your team offers?
Oh yes, because we offer services like for our customers, so you have to know what the customer wants first. Otherwise, you can dump anything into like a threat intel feed, and then you need like the world for you to analyze everything. So we really talk to our customers, like what do they want, what do they need, because sometimes they don't know what they need because they are unaware, and that is how you then build your team to make sure that you can fulfill, like serving the feed or serving the IOC or serving the technical knowledge.
And Nortra, did you see any differences because, from a CERT perspective or from, government perspective?
Yeah, we do. Because when in the beginning there was this huge emphasis on IOCs, signature-based detection. That was a sort of a synonym for cyber threat intelligence. How many indicators of compromise you could deliver. But then we saw this need for these RFIs for other kinds of information that only the tactical or strategical field could deliver. So these were other kinds of employees, not specializing in the technical field, but were more specialized in threat-based scenarios, for example, and really this analytic tool set which they need to also predict kind of attacks or events. For instance, when we saw the war in Ukraine, when it started, when the invasion started, we had many questions from our constituency. What's going to mean this? What's going to happen? And do we see a repeat of the Viper attacks, the uncontrolled Viper, like the 2017 NotPetya attack, of course. And how does this follow up in the field of information wars and everything, and protecting our critical infrastructure? So these kind of questions you couldn't solve with only simply giving a string of indicators of compromise. You could solve it by providing kind of threat-based scenarios, also really preparing for these geopolitical events that might trigger, like for instance, this upsurge of hacktivist attacks. And that was the moment when we saw the need for these technically skilled people to work together with these tactical people to really work together to really tap into all 4 of these information positions. So, and that's what, sorry, I'm like talking too much, but that's why I wanted to advocate that the cyber threat information are not only indicative of compromise, but please see it in a whole more broader field. You have many different skills needed to perform your task there.
You can summarize it as theorize, and then be prepared.
And we've heard the theme throughout a number one of the presentations since we've been here about the collaboration piece of it, working with the government entities, the CERTs, working with law enforcement organizations, and sometimes you build those relationships to fill those gaps, right? Because we don't all have everything that we need sitting in, a conference room somewhere all the time. So let's talk about a little bit about recruitment. That's easy, right? We can recruit very easily for these types of positions that we're looking for. Or sometimes we think it's an easy task, or maybe we know it's not an easy task, but we open up a position and we get 500 applications. And how do we work through that recruitment process? How do we address the diversity that we want to have on our CTI teams?
That's a good question. First, it's a 24/7 world, so you don't need 9 to 5 people. Mm-hmm. You need people that like to solve puzzles, are open to think out of the box. Mm-hmm. So really creative people, because we need diversity, because we don't want to have a team like of all identical people, because then there's no progress and you keep thinking like in inner circles. Mm-hmm. You say?
Yeah, so definitely I agree, and it's important to have. The challenge here is that, like, for threat intelligence, we are looking for a group set of skills, and we need people that knows a lot about the technical side. Also, they have background in automation, scripting, and also they have informed knowledge about international relation, geopolitics, and that's why it's challenging to find the people for in our side, on the company side. But also on the other side, when people apply, some of them maybe hesitant when they see the job description, because we add a lot while we really don't need those skills. So I guess we need to be mindful when we post a job description, just post what we are looking for. If we are looking for a strategic analyst, just a limited description about the analyst would be useful to add, and then people are more interested and have more courage to apply for those positions, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I would really like to challenge something you say, because often I have the feeling that we are looking for this superman or superwoman who is capable of performing in all those fields, and you end up with lots of requirements and everything.
Yeah.
So I think we really have to move forward to training people to the things that they lack.
Well, again, I guess it comes back to a structure of your team and what's the plans for your teams. And some of the teams, they are very advanced, as I said, in the maturity level, that they are very established. They have units for strategic units, like APT units. They have a unit for tracking in, I don't know, Russian threat actors, or I don't know, any specific country. So on that part, it's hard to get people and train them. So it's really, I agree. We need to train people, and we need to do programs like internship for people to join our teams and come see how we do and try to help them to build their skills. Definitely, yeah.
Too often we're looking for these perfect seniors who tick all the boxes instead of making seniors by training junior employees.
Yeah, I agree. We should kind of train and provide some programs within the organization or outside of the organization, and that's the kind of something that companies need to do in near future, I would say.
Because otherwise, if you don't teach them what they are lacking, and they don't have to know everything, but if all the people only know a little bit, there's a lot of single points of failure.
Yes.
and then you're going to miss out.
Yeah, makes sense.
I once had a applicant, a candidate who just sat behind the table, and he said like, I don't know anything about cybersecurity. Yeah, I read some newspapers articles. I said, what are you doing here? And he answered, I'm a master at analyzing techniques. Well, we hired him. And we trained him in cybersecurity, took a few SANS courses, but he was so good in these analyzing techniques that he could almost restructure the team and brought his analysis department to another different level, and we could provide our constituency with a whole new level of reports, seeing all those threats from different perspectives.
Yeah. Because he was thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think sometimes that's how I ended up at Palo Alto Networks. I am not a cybersecurity person by trade, but I have been with Unit 42 for 9 years now, and I was trainable. So I like to think that there are lots of people out there that we could do that type of work with. With some of the difficulties that we have finding folks with some of the skill set, all of the skill set, whatever, where are the places that we're looking? What are the best places to look for these candidates?
Well, for instance, at universities, because then they are really fresh and they are not biased yet. But at conferences, or like here at the Cyber Threat Alliance Tip Summit, there's also some people walking around that have an interest in becoming working in the threat intel field. At side conferences like BSides, because it's rather affordable also for students or for other people to go there. You have to look around. Of course. The other thing is like the websites, the career websites of the different companies or the government, but it's very rare that you get like applicants like that way.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the insider friends, as I told them, because it's very important. When you have your team a little bit more established, when you do things the right way, people are satisfied with their jobs, then there's a huge power of people telling other people what kind of work they do and everything. And sometimes I hold these networking events for employees, and the government pays for beer, and they can invite their friends in the non-security department, and they just talk about these jobs, and this is really attractive for new people to getting to know the field. And our recruitment department didn't pull that stunt off.
And I think another place that we can find really good talents are like CTI capture the flag events. They are really good events, and the good part about these events that you can find people that have technical skills, problem-solving skills, and passion for cybersecurity. Because usually there is no award there, but usually they come there from early morning to night trying to find flags. So they are really passionate about cybersecurity, and they would be the good fit for your company.
So Noort and I happen to be from the same country, and our National Intelligence Service every Christmas is making a Christmas puzzle, really difficult. You really need to go into it to find the answer. Yeah. But the people who win got a T-shirt. But okay, you know at least from this is an interesting person to hire. Or at least to approach.
Yeah, but there's a downside to it as well, and that's that you that there's the danger that you focus too much on the technical aspect of the field, as you also need these analysts, and you also need these people who can manage business relations, for instance, to get those most important sources that you get your threat intelligence from. So not all the talent for this cyber threat intelligence field is mostly purely technical.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. But another good point about capture the flag events, that because I participated a lot, because they are part of the team, so you would see collaboration, teamwork a lot too. And I would say it's important in threat intel teams that collaborate with each other, have a spirit of teamwork. So yeah, it's still I think it could be useful.
And in that and in that vein, having those mentorship programs too, bringing those people in when they're younger, fresh in their career, assigning them to somebody who can kind of keep an eye on them, that type of thing. Let's see. So training then, what kind of training do we expect, or do we think is good training for folks that we're bringing on as new employees?
Well, of course, the regular training courses and the internal training courses, but I think also really important team building, soft skills building, because the threat intel world is a world of trust. So if we have met a long time ago and we like each other and we trust each other, but at the beginning it's okay, just who are you? Can I trust you? And do I want to share my data with you? Okay, I would now.
Probably not, Richard.
Well, okay, my mistake.
Go ahead.
Of course, there are some basic trainings. I think for us in the government, the transit training about how C-certs actually work is one of the basic components, and crisis management training. But also, I look towards the employees themselves. What do they need? Where can they add a little bit more? So, like you said, those technical employees can sometimes really use this soft skills training or training to write up reports. But I also told you about these analysts and who could really use this cybersecurity training, could use some more sense courses. And I think it's really about the personal needs of the employee to see what kind of training is best for them. Also, because there's a real self-interest in there, because people tend to stay at companies when they can keep growing and learning themselves. Yeah.
Just to add this, attending to conferences really help learning a lot on the technical side, and I would say self-learning is important too. If you hire people, they are passionate. There are lots of good blog posts, white papers available, and you usually don't need to. I don't know. I spend a lot of money, especially if your company can't afford. You can find resources available, and if you hire like talented, passionate people, they can go and learn a lot from open source resources.
And for any of you that are leaders out there, and this is something to keep in mind, one of the things that I do for my team is I manage the budget. So I know how much budget we have most of the time. But we always talk about that we want to get our employees trained. And then we get to the end of a fiscal year and like, oh crap, we never got around to it. We were so busy. We had 0 days. We had this. We had all this stuff going on. So for the leaders in here, keep that in mind, that if we want to get that training for our people, that we give them the time to do it as well. So because that has been something that I've been very passionate about, is getting people into training classes.
And I would really like to react on that, because I have the same struggle, and you also see your employees working so hard and sometimes struggling with work-life balance, you know. And it's something I struggle as an employer. You also want to let them make space for training, but not so much that it would add to the workload, to the level of stress they experience with working at your company. Right. So that's a real struggle, and I also haven't found the perfect solution yet, but only monitoring to their stress levels and their working levels. So that's quite hard, I think.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, we've got just a few more minutes, so one last question. How do we bridge the gap? How do we bridge the talent gap?
Good. Well, bringing in more diversity. We need to... in the past, everything was a male society. Women were not even allowed to be educated. Forget about stereotypes. We have to look at diversity. Since I met Noortje and we started to discuss every time the panel, she has a way different way of looking at things than I did. And that was ook an eye-opener. She's perceiving things differently. Not wrong, don't get me wrong. I didn't say that. I'm learning. Ow, don't hit me. But you have to be open also to respect other opinions, because you may not be right. Or maybe you're both right, and that is even more eye-opening. So really looking for that and building a diversity team. Well, Noortje is also hiring people, so it's also how you write down the application. Maybe you want to tell something about that?
Yeah, thank you very much for that bridge. Because there are some really concrete things you can do to hire more diversely. So the first one is not having your job, the tasks in your job description going on endlessly, because research has found that that can be very intimidating to candidates. So please don't do that. But also some check-in on diversity for your job descriptions, for instance. And we have a company that does that for us, but we're the government. But some companies can't pay for it. But AI will offer a simple solution to reformulate your job descriptions in a more neutralized way, so it's anti-biased. So these are some concrete steps you can take. And please do it, because it's so important to hire diversely, just to prevent rigid thinking patterns in your team, like you said, and to prevent tunnel vision in our line of work. That's very important to avoid.
And yeah, I guess it's also important to partner with diversity-focused programs like Women in Cybersecurity, provide scholarships, programs, sponsorships for minority people to help them to get into cybersecurity. And also I see the opportunity in cyber threat intelligence team, because I see like we are looking for a lot of people that speak for specific languages, and that helps us or gives us opportunity to hire minority people.
All right. And the only other one that I would add is partnerships with military organizations, law enforcement organizations. When people are coming out of the military, offering a program to get their foot in the door, almost like an internship, those types of things. You know, in the military and law enforcement, there are very, very skilled cybersecurity people. So looking for jobs when they come out. So just another organization that you could partner with.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Any last thoughts? I think we probably, yep, time. All right, we're at time. Thank you all. I appreciate this every year when I get to be up here with you.